Hey, welcome back to this channel. Now, today happens to be the 1000th video on the Thetekkitrealm. 1000 videos later. And it kind of feels the same, if I'm being real. Only the most OG of this channel's audience will recognize this shirt and know its significance. Because exactly, well, just about 9 years ago, we hit 100 videos on the same day that we hit 1,000 subscribers. It was also exactly on January 1st of that year, which was 2016. And I just wore this shirt. It would have been really good if we hit 10 million subscribers on the same day as hitting 1,000 videos. That would be good, but I'll settle for less. You don't have to feel bad for me. What is the 1000th video going to be about today? Well, it's such a good thing that you would ask that. Have you ever just tried to find a website just by directly searching up the URL, either in the search bar or anything else? Probably not, because in this day of age, you literally have things like bookmarks, or maybe you just only go to one website ever, and that's just YouTube, like me, and 123 movies. Every website goes off of a URL. So what happens when you misspell a URL? Like you just do a typo in the domain name, or you just accidentally type in a couple extra letters in there, which are not supposed to be in there. Well, this is exactly where this endless rabbit hole seems to begin. And it really just goes into territories which end up being very dangerous, which is why we're going to be looking into them. And that reminds me, it's a perfect video to be sponsored. So I'm going to be introducing you to the sponsor of today's video, which is nothing. In the past on this channel's lore, we have made videos discussing these alternate versions of these very popular websites, most particularly YouTube and also other places. We've delved into the details of YouTube's alternate version, some mysterious New World Order type of website that's just hosted under YouTube with 2 U's or something.com. And it's not that easy to find these very strange websites because you kind of have to go sifting through the various different URLs variations, and sometimes even need VPNs in order to basically get into the examples of this iceberg that I'm going to be going into in this video. We need to understand how this works. Basically, if you were to misspell a domain name, what happens is it doesn't just redirect to the website that you're trying to get to anyway. Instead, it goes to these like ad networks, which cycle through a bunch of random pages on the internet that anyone could just pay to have hosted on them. And then you just basically randomly get put onto one of these networks, only to end up not being in the website that you were meant or trying to go to. Now, how you pay to have your web page hosted on one of these ad networks? Maybe there's like a back alley somewhere where you just like pay some guy who works for the World Wide Web. However it works, that's exactly how these websites exist. For example, in my past video where I discussed the alternate version of YouTube, and the story goes that some teacher was trying to pull up YouTube in order to show some kind of educational video, and in doing this, mistyping YouTube's URL led to this alternate URL going by youtube.arguary.com. But there's another variation of YouTube which you can access by simply typing in an emoji in replacement for the O in YouTube's domain name. And now this can lead you to different results because most browsers don't actually allow domains to have emojis in them, and you will be redirected to a dead page. But what I found was that on some non-Chrome based browsers, it would interpret the emoji as being just any other symbol like a dash or a period, leading you to another one of these alternate URLs. So it will actually redirect to the ad network, which redirects you to all these different scam websites. That's also how we find these tech support pop-ups, by the way. They're all on these misspelled domain names. And specifically on Venezuelan VPN settings, you can actually be redirected to another version of YouTube, which happens to be this, yourhacked.com. This version of YouTube also has some videos on here, but sifting through it, and if you refresh the page multiple times, end up being just pirated movies and sometimes X-rated videos which are not really too family friendly. Now, when I went to this website, after a couple of times refreshing the page trying to get to it, I just got an iPhone alert message saying that my iPhone was infected, which is kind of weird because I don't even have an iPhone. Where does this get dangerous, you might be asking? Well, we're going to look into multiple other examples because I found quite a few of these domains which redirect to these alternate websites here. The moment you go on any of these websites and you fill in any of your information, you're going to be compromising your very web footprint on these websites. Usernames, your browsing history, and every basic thing that you give away so generously because of your scrumptious cookies to everyone will basically be saved in this ad network database forever. So your entire identity, so long as you keep using the same browser instance or even IP address really, is going to be saved into this network where it can then be taken and put anywhere else, like on dark web marketplaces, for example. But then it gets even more interesting because still going down the rabbit hole of these emojis, this emoji strategy actually works. On certain browsers, emojis don't actually allow you to go into these ad networks because, of course, the browser will just detect it's just a false website domain because you can't actually have a domain name with emojis in it. But again, sometimes you'll have a browser like this one I'm using right now, which might not have the most up-to-date security, or it may not just care whether or not you're using emojis or symbols. It'll interpret like this specific emoji, which is the sideways smile emoji, as being something like a dash, which is, of course, able to be in a web domain. So then it's going to redirect you to this ad network here. That leads me to this other example. So we have Facebook, except with two of these sideways laughing emojis as a replacement for the O's. And now this one can lead you to various different web pages, of course. But when I was using Venezuelan's VPN IP address for I don't know reason, it actually on the second try led me to this marketplace here, which is basically just a copy of a defunct actual dark web marketplace. Now, the difference is, of course, this marketplace is on the surface web, and whether it's actually being operated by whoever Pablo Escobar guy who's running dark web marketplaces or not, or if it's just some kind of a scam or a recreation website, I don't really know. To me, it seems like this website is trying to recreate a Facebook marketplace type of environment, except all the listings here are drug-related, also including pirated movies, games, pirated bootlegs, pirated pirates, and mostly everything pirates under the sun, really. Now, that's all fantastic, though, if you're accessing a website like this for, with your own free will, using a very secure browser like Tor, because that secures everyone on both ends, both the suppliers and you, the consumers of drugs. But when you're on the surface web, redirected from one of these ad networks, you get led to this marketplace, except with complete no security that you would get using a dark web browser. That leads me to believe that a website like this is either a sting operation being operated by the police in order to, get random people who might accidentally go here to, who might be a little bit intrigued in buying something, to just shut that down real quick. Or it's just kind of a fake website that's just meant to be a scam, essentially. If you try to buy anything or put your personal information in here, it will be collected, but you're not going to get anything. And then again, it's just going to lead to you losing your personal information, like every single other scenario here. So now, where does this get even more juicy? Well, there's plenty more examples. We're just kind of waltzing on the very tip of this iceberg here. These emojis tend to be something that are a gateway into this dark web type of environment, even though it's not really the dark web. It's really just way too overdramatic to characterize that, because it's way worse than the dark web. The dark web is pretty silly and not really too scary at all. All it is just mostly dead websites that don't do anything and 99% scams. These things will actually compromise your very personal security and identity, because when you're accessing something like this using a Chrome-based browser, or something like that that's gonna allow like an emoji to be in the URL, you're not gonna have some security that's gonna be protecting you. So when we go to this one, which I also found thanks to someone who actually told me about this one, thanks again, amateur scam baiting audience, it's Amazon.com, or as I like to call Scamazon. Except if you replace the O with this emoji, I don't know what you would classify that emoji as being. Maybe it's like an upside down, not an upside down, but like, you could look it up. All right, this is gonna redirect you to this ad network, but then eventually you're gonna also come to this website here, which looks to be yet another one of these gimmick websites that you'd find on the dark web. So we're looking at like literal narcotic websites, or narcotic selling sites. Facebook drugs is what it is. There's a bunch of these textbook scam ads that are just lined all around the web page. The type of thing that you'd find on any other normal website. And they just do lead to just all these other just random scam pages, I guess. So I do believe that this is just kind of like a money-making scheme, really just meant to just steal your information, most likely. But once your information is out there through these like nefarious ad networks, there's literally no getting it back. Now this all just ties together. Like if we go back to the original things here with YouTube, YouTube has apparently now 2 alternate websites, one that could be accessed through VPN and the other one that could be accessed through emojis. Really the difference is that this one's meant to actually look like it's really youtube.com. If you were to screw around and get on here, you could sign into your, account and it actually goes to Google here, then you're already going to be compromising your Google account. Only the ones I'm showing in this video are just the tip. There's so many more that were leading to rather scary websites that were kind of just seemingly random and pointless. It all kind of links back to the emoji thing with YouTube search as well. A long time ago, I made a video, and you can watch it on my channel if you want more details. We covered how you should never search this on YouTube, and it involved YouTube search terms with emojis in them. And the reason was, if you were to search something on YouTube with emojis, it would redirect you to all of these absolutely random, uncharacterizable videos, which you couldn't find elsewhere any other way. And they were all in different languages, but they all tended to be very disturbing and just like analog horror things. But amongst all of this content, there were actual videos which showed real life violence and crime that were traced back to literal dark web pages or websites. There was stuff like Live Leak and all kinds of things uploaded literally under just a couple emojis in YouTube search term. Now, after my video went out about all this and lots of other people started covering it, YouTube just scrubbed the whole thing, wiped all of these search results so that now it's basically impossible. If you try searching up these emojis, you're going to be finding yourself with zero results or almost zero results. But the same type of thing happened with punctuation marks and these dashes and periods, which could be thought of like the same thing that we're seeing with these domains through these emoji combinations, like it's some kind of emoji language that's being spoken on this dark web. And it was just a way to like sneak content onto the surface web for surface people to watch and not really enjoy too much, most likely. So there's not really been any new light that's been brought to that kind of thing because YouTube just straight up wiped all of that. Everything has been heavily censored when you try to search emojis into YouTube search. Sometimes though, you do find random videos like the YouTube algorithm videos or videos talking about YouTube's algorithm just popping up randomly when you search up these terms, some of these emojis. Almost like YouTube's algorithm is like defaulting back to showing videos just about itself. We're just scratching the absolute surface of this because I really do think that there's some kind of underground conspiracy involving emojis here, which really just seems so silly at face value, but I'm not kidding you, is weird. Somebody was making these YouTube videos under these search terms. Somebody's making these websites under these domain names. I don't know how or why. Anyways, that's the introduction to this kind of like rabbit hole that maybe I'll make another video on. But until the next video, keep your fingers off that emoji keyboard. Don't do it. Until the next one, you'll see me then. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Yo, what's going on, guys? Thanks so much for 1.88 M subscribers. I never thought I'd have so many M subscribers. Please become one of those M subscribers right now, and maybe this channel can become something big in the future, and you'll get 10 years of good luck. All you have to do is go down and subscribe. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.